I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. So nobody knows who you are right now, and honestly, that could be the biggest advantage you ever get to build wealth if and only if you use that properly. I hope with this entire video I can shift your perspective just a tiny little bit, especially if you are a beginner in business or just trying to figure out your financial path. I've been seeing a lot of you guys trying to start stuff, whether it is a side hustle, an agency, a content channel, or just trying to get your money right. Mad respect for actually taking the plunge. I know exactly what it feels like to be at ground zero because I was there not too long ago. I want you to understand why starting from zero actually gives you advantages that even multimillionaires or billionaires don't have anymore. Let me dive right into it. This whole idea came to me during a consult call I had recently. I am actually trying to take less and less of those calls now because frankly I am busy and I want to focus on my own stuff. But this one guy was telling me how I have all these advantages because of my established agency and my case studies and my reputation. He was making excuses why he could not get clients or do his outreach properly, and I had to stop him right there. I said, dude, in the grand scheme of things, yes, you are correct. If you zoom way out, yeah, you need case studies to run a successful agency. But here's what he did not understand. My entire business identity is tied up in a specific niche. I have built everything around one industry. If I wanted to pivot tomorrow and start targeting insurance companies or dealerships or lawyers or contractors, I literally cannot do that easily. Prospects would look at my website, my domain, my case studies, and everything screams one thing. They would look at me like I have three eyes and ask, why should I trust you if you have zero experience in my space? But this guy, he did not understand the advantage he had. Nobody knows who he is. He does not even have a niche yet. He barely knows what service he wants to offer. He could secretly test every single thing under the sun. Every niche, every offer, every type of service that I cannot touch because my identity is already locked in. Sure, I could start a whole new business from scratch, but then guess what happens? We would both be at ground zero together. Yeah, I might have more capital, but if you take my capital away, we are literally on the exact same level. He can pivot within the snap of his fingers if something does not work out. That is the advantage I am talking about. Think of it this way. Imagine a giant Boeing 757 versus a private jet. I am the Boeing 757. I am in this huge plane, and yes, I can hold more passengers. Yes, I can fly longer distances. Yes, I can probably generate more revenue within that plane. But if you are in a private jet, you can go anywhere. You are nimble. You can adapt to any situation. You can land on a tiny runway and take off again in minutes. You can go anywhere in the world. In today's rapidly changing business landscape that agility is everything, I really want to drive that point home because I do not think he understood it until the end. It was actually eye-opening for me too, hearing myself say it out loud. Damn, those are actually really good points. So before we go any deeper, I want to hit you with two truths. Number one, every single person, including me, started from somewhere. You cannot count yourself out just because you do not have the track record or the case studies or the reputation. I did not have any of that either. Minus the people born with a silver spoon I started with, nothing just like you. Number two, every position in business has an advantage, even being the underdog. Actually, especially being the underdog right now. Think about AI, for example. We are so early into the AI space that even if you start 6 months from now versus people who started a year or a year and a half ago, it does not really matter. As long as you just get on the damn train, you are going to be fine. So if you are watching this thinking, nobody knows who I am and I have no credibility and no social proof, let me be the first to congratulate you. You just identified a huge piece of leverage, your secret weapon. The question is not whether you have advantages. The question is, are you smart enough to recognize them and ruthless enough to exploit them? Think about that. Now let me talk about the first massive advantage of being unknown, complete freedom to experiment. Unlimited at-bats. When nobody knows who you are, you can pivot and rebrand and completely change your direction without any public scrutiny, without any eyeballs on you. You know what I cannot do. I cannot suddenly start posting about crypto without people questioning my expertise. I cannot pivot to e-commerce without confusing my audience. It just does not work. But you can test real estate marketing this month. You can try software the next month. You can do AI the month after that. Your failed attempts do not follow you around because there is no digital footprint to haunt you yet. You get to define your narrative from scratch. There are no preconceived notions about what you should be doing or what content you should post. This is the entrepreneurial equivalent of taking a million swings at the plate while nobody is keeping score. In business, you need to take multiple swings just to see what works in the first place. So you may as well just start. You may as well just go. Here's another thing that is fascinating about human psychology. People are naturally drawn to genuine, unpolished, humble beginnings way more than they are drawn to corporate personas. Look, I try to keep my content relatable most of the time, but I have gotten comments before saying it is kind of hard to relate to this or that creator because he is more on my level. And honestly, there is no right or wrong answer there. I personally believe in the 3 tiers. Find someone who is well above you to learn from. Find someone near your level to grow with. Find someone below you that you can mentor and help. It works every time. People love following someone who is just starting their journey. Look at how big some of these creators have gotten who started with nothing. People want to be part of your come up. They want to be part of your story when you are still unknown and low-key. You can be vulnerable about what you are struggling with without damaging some huge reputation. You do not have to pretend you are a multi-millionaire who never has bad days. Trust me, everyone has bad days. I have been struggling with some personal stuff behind the scenes lately too. Everyone goes through stuff. Being unknown creates intrigue and mystery that actually works in your favor. I honestly find it more fascinating to learn about underdogs in business than established billionaires. Hidden billionaires are way more interesting to me. I was listening to my First Million podcast recently, and they talked about this guy worth $6.5 billion, and I had never even heard of him before. There are hundreds of people like that. When you have people watching you, they start expecting more from you. They start critiquing every move. They watch you like a hawk, whether you like it or not. Customers, employees, family members, friends, everyone. But right now, you get the benefit of the doubt and the excitement of potential. People look at you and think, wow, that guy is ambitious. That guy looks cool. Use that to your advantage. Next point, low pressure testing environment. Let me talk about pressure for a second. When you are established, every single move gets scrutinized. Think about public companies. Every piece of content, every business decision gets analyzed by competitors, customers, and employees. But when nobody knows who you are operating in a low pressure environment. It is you versus you. That is it. You can test different content styles and voices and niches without disappointing anyone because nobody is watching yet. Criticism stings a lot less when it is not attached to an identity you have already built up. There are plenty of pros to having an audience, but a big con is not being able to shift direction quickly. My friend Wilm and I talk about this all the time. We both talk about the days when we would just post whatever we truly wanted to post. Not saying I do not love every video I make now, but sometimes I catch myself wondering, am I making this video because I genuinely want to or because I want a nice little spike in views? I have that moment once every couple of months. I will be fully transparent about that, but I know in my core I should just do what I want. And that is exactly what someone at Ground Zero can do. They can always do what they want because they do not have an audience judging them yet. You can make mistakes and iterate very quickly. The beautiful thing is once you find what works, that becomes your origin story. The story people love and relate to. It is a win-win all the way around. Now let me talk about strategic flexibility and market intelligence. This is where it gets really interesting. When nobody knows who you are, you can study what works for others and adapt it without being called a copycat. I cannot suddenly start using the same video ideas as my competitors without people noticing and calling it out. I got called the Dan Coe of the gaming world once, and honestly, I loved it. He was not saying it as a hate comment, but it made me think for a second. Damn, am I trying to copy his style or find my own? The reality is you have to replicate what works to some degree. But as a beginner, you can model successful businesses across multiple industries and cherry pick the best strategies without any baggage. You can collaborate with anyone without worrying about brand alignment. You can test different ventures and partnerships. Plus, your competition changes over time. The people who seem unreachable today might be your literal peers or even friends tomorrow. The key is while they are comfortable in their established position, you are hungry and nimble and ambitious and willing to do what they will not do. Let me give you a reality check about your competition because it sounds like you are hooked on the idea that they are too established to compete with. Most of them got comfortable. They are running the same playbook they ran 3 years ago. I am a huge proponent and also a victim of this. My agency is going through a massive pivot right now because I have been selling the same offer for years and it is slowly dying out. I need to pivot, but I used to be terrified of pivoting because I have so much invested in my current identity. Your competitors think the same way. They cannot test new markets without confusing customers. They cannot experiment with new approaches. They are the Boeing 757 trying to make a sharp turn, but you are the private jet. You can turn around in 30 seconds. You can outmaneuver them out, test them out, adapt them. I really want you to take that mindset and embrace being unknown. Use this window of anonymity to test aggressively. Pivot quickly, experiment constantly. Here's my call to action for you. Pick 3 niches you are interested in. Spend the next 30 days creating content for each one. Do cold outreach for each one. Test different messaging. Just do stuff, man. Throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. You have nothing to lose because nobody is watching yet. That is the gift. That is the advantage. Stop treating it like a weakness. If you made it this far, I want to see you win. We will see you in the next one. Peace.